In our last video, we discussed that during a session, one of my students asked me that when it comes to public spaces or when it comes to shared spaces, um, we see a lack of discipline in trying to keep those places clean or try to, keep them organized. But when it comes to our houses, we try to keep it as clean as possible. So why is there such a difference between these two things? When it comes to our houses or when it comes to our homes, we see that we as a society in general are trying to keep it as clean as possible. We are even trying to clean our balcony, we're trying to keep our parkings clean. But when it comes to our streets, when it comes to our roads, when it comes to public transport, we are not trying to keep it as clean as possible because uh, let's be honest, a lot of people are going to use it, right? When you're traveling in bus, if you're throwing your biscuit packet on the floor, or you're not cleaning after yourself, the seat is not clean. Let's say you were eating some chips and there's some crumbles on the seat, so it is not fit for the other person to sit on it, right? And when it comes to shared spaces, people are not thinking about the other person. So in my last video, I talked about, like, I think that there is a lack of empathy, or there is an increasing trend of empathy that we're seeing nowadays. That people are sort of not really thinking about the other person anymore, and we're more self-centric to the point that throwing trash on the road itself doesn't feel like any big deal. So, a few days back, I was sitting with my family, and we were discussing that when we were kids, we used to sit with our grandparents, or when my parents were young, they used to sit with their grandparents. They used to sit with their family, and we used to exchange stories, or they used to uh, tell bedtime stories. So I'm from Punjab, and you've probably heard about it, but uh, there used there are many folk stories that because as humans we are social animals, right? We are supposed to live in a society, or uh, we evolve to live in a society, in a group. And uh, when we were evolving, the most important part, and one of the most important part, was to share our experiences or to share our stories. And that was done by sitting together in a group, right? And I think as we are now moving more to a digital era, this transfer of knowledge, this transfer of stories, experiences, emotions have moved away from um an in-person thing. Now think about it. Like, how are we spending most of our time? If you're a working professional like me, you're probably spending around 8 9 hours in your work, in your job. So there is, after that you have commute, and then after that you are coming back home. You are, so after eating dinner, you're going back to sleep. And so in total you have generally, and in total you only have like 1 to 2 hours of time which you can share with your family, or you have 1 to 2 hours left after everything in a day. And when I look at myself, I spend that time mostly on Instagram, on Twitter, on WhatsApp, and some small amount of time is spent watching TV, watching news on TV. And I see that I find myself bombarded with a lot of information, and some information which was not supposed to reach to me. If you're any time of the day, if you're looking at news, I am 99% sure you will hear one horrific crime or another. It has now become such a common thing to hear in the news. Something as horrific as a murder is everyday news. I mean, think about it. News like murders, accidents, theft, or kidnapping. And this is only and I'm only talking about television here. And when it comes to social media, the algorithm is designed to keep you engaged, and it is, and we all know that negative news or sort of shocking content has a higher engagement than, let's say, positive content. So uh, and we all know that even on those channels, it is not, they're not 100% reliable. So a few days ago there was a news that veteran actor Mr. Dharmender was sick, and there was a lot of fake news that he has passed away, and so that, and this was done by news channels, like actual news channels. So the credibility of those sources will always be questioned. But now, my point is that when you're looking at, when you're surrounded by all of this negative news, or when you're surrounded by a bias, your worldview sort of shifts. For example, on Instagram, especially on social media or on the internet, there has been a rising debate related to a lot of things, like whether it be a left wing versus right wing, or whether it be caste based politics, religion based politics, region based politics, language based politics. So I find myself that these type of content is very shocking. Like if you're living in Bangalore, someone like, if you believe the news, then you're supposed to learn Kannada, and like everyone is expecting to learn Kannada, and that, in if you don't speak that, you will get beaten up. And so that is one example. And so anytime when I'm surrounded by this news, I start to feel that probably the world is a mean place, or that it's a big bad world. You're not supposed to help anyone. If you've ever been part of a WhatsApp group, so you'll probably understand that there's a lot of fake news, or even simple incidents are being generalized, and that you're not supposed to help anyone who has been who is involved in a road accident, because you'll get booked by the police. When people are surrounded by such news items, they are very cautious, that they're always ready to fight. This gives rise to anxiety, and I'm sure there is more good in the world than evil. And in the 1970s, a researcher named George Gerbner proposed a theory that when a certain individual is surrounded by negative news, or by surrounded by information which is horrific, which is stressing, and if that happens almost every single day, and the average human can suffer from a mean world syndrome. Just imagine if you're thinking that everyone in the world is out there to get you. So why would you empathize with the other person? In a society that is driven by fear, by driven by distrust, you'll automatically find that you will not put energy into thinking what the other person will go through. You will only care about yourself, because as humans, our goal is to survive, and when that survival is on the line, you are not going to invest energy in something like empathy. So I think due to that, there has been a decline in there has been a decline in empathy in the society. Now, when I was discussing all of this, automatically or naturally, the next question was, why is there a lack of empathy in the society? Because earlier that was not the case, right? So why has there been a shift